This is an example of a 1/2 inch conduit bender with a 45-degree bend at the handle being vertical. This is a very old bender. It's made out of malleable iron, but it lacks the common markings for accurate bending. This is a 30-degree malleable iron 1/2 inch conduit bender. And that means that when the handle is in the vertical position, this is a 30-degree bend. And you can see that there are markings here that indicate a 10-degree, a 22-degree, a 30-degree, a 45 and 60-degree angle. And when it's fully bent, it's a 90-degree conduit bend. There are some other markings here as well. This dot indicates the center of a 45-degree bend. This star indicates the marking for a back-to-back bend. This is the other side of that bender, and this bender is fairly old, more than 30 years old, and this one happens to be a Benfield brand bender made by Jack Benfield. All of these markings are the result of his work in identifying the angles and bending technology. And this side of the bender has lines that correspond with the angles on the other side, but instead of the degree markings, it has the inch markings that you would need per inch of offset for that degree bend. In other words, a 30-degree bend for an offset would require 2 inches between each mark to achieve that type of offset. This is a die-cast aluminum bender, again with a 30-degree bend when the handle's in the vertical position. You can see the degree markings on this one, the 10-degree, the 22-degree, and when the handle's in the vertical position, you can see that the conduit would be at a 30-degree bend. It also has the 45 and the 60-degree bends. This is a 1/2 inch thin wall, sharp radius bender. It bends a much tighter bend and is not compliant with the National Electrical Code. There are times, however, when it is the only solution and is sometimes used in those cases. This happens to be a Gardner bender model 929. They are sometimes available on auction websites or in equipment auctions. To illustrate the difference between the standard 90-degree bend on the regular conduit bender versus the sharp radius bend, this is the traditional 90-degree bend. You can see how much tighter the sharp radius bender bends a stick of conduit. It makes it much more difficult to pull wire through that, and that's why they are generally not allowed by the National Electrical Code. This is an illustration of where a short radius bend might come in handy. For example, 2x4s in a garage or some other structure where it needs to be wired in conduit. There's enough straight pipe that you could put a connector on it and have a box mounted on the underside or the face of it. This has enough straight pipe to accommodate a connector. As you can see here, this one does not. There wouldn't be enough straight conduit here until you're well past the face of that stud.